This is going to be the video part 7 of me showing you that, or revealing the first writer's formats in the Hebrew text. They're pretty easy to find once you understand. It takes two major words to make a verse, and then this is a 4-verse format, and these two connect together to make like a sentence, and the next two do the same thing. And then what will happen is they will be considered, or this will be considered like a small paragraph, and then this becomes another one. But between the two of them, they're so close that before they really change subject, that it's a larger paragraph. So I designate a double space between them. Now, I'm on the journey of finally doing my best editing of all the books. It's been about 3 years, but I've been doing this for probably 30 years. And I'm feeling that this is the one that most people can trust me to say that I didn't. I guess you'd have to look at what I've done for our Creator's Hidden Formats, because those you need 3 or 4 different rules to follow by, and you actually use Strong's Concordance to do the same thing, but only with the words that in Strong's Concordance. That also does the Old Hebrew and John, Luke, Mark, and Matthew. So I didn't use any of the other books. I used probably 24 in total. Now, what I'm doing is I'm recording for history to say that every edit, what did I do up to this point? And I'm getting really close to updating all the descriptions with this latest text that I've done. I've got to go through and just reread Jesus' teaching from the 4 Gospels. What I did was I put all the verses together to give us one story, so all this text will be completely in order. And I'm getting close to putting that together. I got to read it one more time, make it the same size as this format, stick it into the one that I have all this cleaned up on, and then make it the same size. And I'm thinking that I'm not going to add pictures at this time, but I've got to go through and number the paragraphs. You can see I've already got the start on the chapter or the story, and then there will be a table of contents. And hopefully in the future that I will then be able to put it into print. So this I wanted to make it descriptive as what the story is. He's actually I realized when the story was Israel, I'm using as like the 10 tribes, and I can't use that word. I have to be more specific. So I just picked a tribe that I figured this was closest to what the story is talking about. The gray text is text that I put in because it didn't meet the format, and then because I now put them in order, there's a lot of corrections going through. Now I needed to make sure what king is being mentioned in this story, so I had to add his name here. Change in text like money to silver. I'm using silver at all times through the Hebrew text. I really don't know when I put in coins, so that I don't really need to worry about. I'm just you're going to use like pieces of silver throughout that, and then and the Jesus's teaching, I will have coins. So just to let you know on how the searching that I'm trying to put in my head of everything when you are able to see it in the PDF. Um, I really tried to organize this a lot. I'm changing this guy's name to make it easier, somewhat easier. You can see I added the text here. When it's already been there, that's what's done previously. Changing like bread to food, it's pretty simple when you understand the story. Set food and water before them that they may eat. If you just put bread, that's not really eating. That would be like you need other things. You need cheese, you need fish, you need vegetables. So it's food. The even longer, I think that's the intent of the word. When I get too far away from the word, I will make it all in gray text for the future. And you can see that that was shown in the text that I've added that, or I've adjusted the words to make this verse. I got red here showing that I'd done that in this time going through, but you can see I did this word and this word before in that verse. And I have many videos up going over every verse and pretty much every word. And I did great detail, like I think of getting rid of every word up until like the major um, prophets. I started working on the prophets first because they were just short books, and then when I got to the major one, I've done so many of the other ones and explained why I'm removing the text, and it was just slowing me down. Um, Explaining every word, but the first ones that I did will be in greater detail. The other, I just got like like a picture above my head, like I got now, showing these are the hidden formats. And there I had a list of, I think, 5 reasons. I think I started out with 4, and then I named 5. Um, Here, this has to be a gatekeeper's tower, for not for the forest, but it has to be the gatekeeper's tower. Um, at this time, oh, this is probably talking about Samara, which becomes the capital city, like Jerusalem for the 2 tribes, but Samara becomes the capital city. Now it's going to break down that it's going to start like in Bethel, then there's going to be a city in the tribe above that's going to have Camp Tazar, I think it's the city, and that's going to be the king. And then all of a sudden, there's going to be words in the text that this king went and bought a hill, and then over time, that hill changed into the city Samara, and then they put this walled, probably wooded wall around the city, and then they, for the gatekeepers, to let him enter or not, that this is the tower. There are probably 2 towers, but the object is I'm going to just use the one tower because call that the gatekeeper's tower, not towers. Anyways, that explains the word why I'm using towers. From his sleep, woke him up in the night. I thought he had to be sleeping, so let's use a better word. Now here I have a question that is it truly is Shea? It's spelled wrong. Oh, this is going to be a prophet. I've got to check the spelling on that. So let me take this. Oops. Put 10 over. What I forgot to do is show you that. So I went and cleaned up this that I had a problem with before. Um, I had this as attendants, and I've changed it back that they are priest at this time, but it's still hard to say. Eli's going to be the high priest, so he's there for the largest altar, and then they had an altar for each tribe. Usually they only assigned one priest. Here, there's two of them going to be here, so my suspicion is that they're twins. Okay, so that's how I can get to say that they're the high priest for the tribe. So that's a lot of people wouldn't suspect that if they were reading the text, but now the way the text is written, and they're the only words that I got about them to start off who they are. My suspicion is that they were twins. I don't think there's much to explain there. Remove all this text. I usually put a note why, but most of the time it's I've got double. This is the city I was telling you about. Tarzea is going to be the king. This is um, Omer died. I think his son Ahab killed him, if I remember correctly. This text is better below. See, I made the note here on this one. This I got moved up. So I've got little bits of things um, that you can see I only had one verse, but that verse ended up being very important. It went with this story, but it goes better with the story about. So, um, Elijah was sick. Yeah, I had to add this verse to make the story correct. Um, because he's going to be commanded to anoint Jehu, which right now is a commander, and then Jehu is going to become the king of Israel. But he's going to have somebody else. The story says he's going to send not this guy. Now that I know that that's not there, I don't know what the attendant's name is at this time. I know I'm pretty sure I put it in on the next one, or I am leaving it. No, because I don't have an edit here. I'm pretty sure that I don't know who it is by name, and strike them dead. I had died, but just my quick editing if you ever watch any of my other videos, when I'm going through these, it's kind of like trying to explain, trying to edit, trying to fix them. And then what I'd do is I'd do like uh, 20 verses. That would be a lot too. 20 verses. And then I'd take that and then I'd go down and I'd try to clean it up and I'd try to go through it real quick to do the second editing. So I got to this point So it was just quickly read, and I kind of like, okay, whatever. And now it's time to do these, find a little bit of cleanups. Example, I didn't do a spell check on a lot of this stuff until the next one that you're going to see. So don't think that the text is going to be that way. Now, I added the text here, and then I removed it. There's other text better, or this is not needed. And I only try to make these videos 45 minutes max. So I have to keep turning my head to watch the time. Whose piece is better descriptive instead of what piece? And I think that's a better word. Said to ask to said, or said to ask, or whatever. Being more precise with the words. Too many times they're just keep using the word said where I can say told because it's past tense that they're talking that he did this, or ask from said to be correctly. So yeah, I had to change prophets and I had to change kings' names. And this is like a future note for me that when I go back and start putting things in for the work for the book that's going for print, that is going to have a lot more quick little notes of what's going on. Maybe I'm going to make a list of prophets in a timeline with the kings. Right now, I'm trying to I'm having a hard time how to do that, but I know it's got to be done somehow. And I can't remember what this note is for, so I'm going to get rid of that. Because this is what I'm going to use as a PDF to put out. I've got all my books in order. What I worked on is it's being cleaned up. Then once all my editing, then my second editing, I go through it. So that's another PDF. And then I show you the cleaned up text that I tried to put it in order so I could compile it. And this text didn't make it. Just correcting the king's name. Needed a second. I thought the word all wasn't the best description when I'm reading it again. And I've read it a couple times. So a lot of this is what you're seeing is compiled of maybe 3 times that I read the text through, and then I go and put all the edits. My brain isn't smart enough to catch all these the first time because I'm trying to do so much thinking as I'm going through here. Because every word has a specific meaning. So I'm trying to make sure that's very correct as I go through. A chest to a box, I figured that I'm using the word chest for what was known as the ark. I can't have the boat named ark in the chest that they put the 12 commandments in. So I've changed one to a boat so we know what we're talking about, and a box or a chest for the 12 commandments. The 12 commandments are under his mercy seat, so that is the only word chest that when you search. And then when you see a box, this is going to be something that they're going to put out there that people are going to donate to for the damages, to repair the damages. So again, shortening this king's name down. Okay, I moved this text here, and it might be a group, or maybe it might have just one verse. It looks like this is only one group. Usually I would say two groups, but it could be two groups on this one. As I figured out later how to group them and where I put two, and when I didn't, I'm thinking it's going to be like this now. So, but you'll see that in the final version. There's a lot of work that I didn't note or back do in these. In fact, I've got mentioned in the first video, I moved up just this one group. That I lost a hard drive. I dropped it on the floor and it's broke. Even though I've got it off to the side, there was like a month's work on there. And usually, or I know that I missed some editing, so I can't actually say that every edit that you're seeing here is going to be recorded for history. But I done my best, and then I got hit by that hurricane and was moving around, so I had to grab things, and in the hurry, it was kind of like the tide is coming in, it's starting to rise too quick, and I think I was the last person out of the park that I used to live on the in Lemon Bay in Florida, which would be it's near Inglewood, or right by Inglewood, part of Inglewood. But it's a nice bay, but then they've got like some people would call it a jetty, but that's just land coming down. It's not really a jetty, but and then that was the Gulf. And what happened was during Hurricane Marion, that I was keeping track of it because I knew it was coming in, and I was packing to leave that day, but with my asthma, I was the slowest one getting out, and I could only take so much in my car, and pretty much everything else got wasted because salt water damages anything metal or electrical is completely dead. You can't fix them unless you do a whole lot. Now, something like this should clean up right here. Insulted to disliked. Religion to shaming. And you can see that it was a word that I added, so should have been in yellow. So insulted to dislike, I thought it was close enough that it's not needed to be put into gray italic, and then there'll be like words like this that show you I added that. But you notice none of the other words are italic. Here they are, and here they are. Those were ones that I've done before. Um, I have to explain their horse males are mankind. I had it horse males the first time are mankind. A male's maleness retracts inside his body. Retracting males are mankind. Well, that would be the males for mankind. A female, her rosebud will change. It'll become thin like a sword, and it will be about 1.5 inches long, thin and shaped just like a sword. But they're mankind. But when it's used the word horse, I don't want to change mankind. I want to be able to search mankind at all time. So that's going to have to be a note on mankind. who's who and what happens to them. On All Saints Day, by the way, so that hopefully in the future, we get rid of that holiday, be more true to our Creator, don't follow the pagans. Um, yeah, established to place them together. Yeah, it was just that I was used that word and then I just realized that it's not working this time around. So, kingdom, the nation, all kingdoms are those outside the nation Israel. Nation Israel is made up, well, like of different states or different tribes, and that will always be the word nation in the text for searching. Everything outside of it is known as a kingdom, okay? Or even before the nation Israel was established. Now, nation Israel, when our Creator established to go into the Sinai, it isn't in bold. And then the one that's in bold, like this one, means that it's still the whole nation Israel is being talked about at this time, even though I know that they're divided into two. This is them referring to our Creator's nation. So I've tried to make sure that nobody can sit here and say that this word means something other than what I have designated it by this coding of um, italic, not italic, bold, um, small caps, large caps. There's many different ways I did the word Israel. Because normally just Israel with the first letter capital, we know that was Jacob's name, was changed to Israel. So I think it's like 5 times I'm using the word Israel different. Diviners to seers. Diviners are somebody that casts items. A seer is one who sits and says, I have received a vision. Something had to be changed to most. This one I kept reading over and over. Cause to mislead. Yeah, it cause a person by the words to deceive them, misleads a person by words to deceive them. I thought this was better because these two have to connect together as a sentence. So a lot of times I'm editing that I'm trying to make a full sentence. This might have sounded good as an individual verse, but then later it doesn't work when I'm went over them because they got cleaner and cleaner. Then I was able to change my thought of how to edit the text. And now defrauding to trickery or tricking the righteous. And example, what I mean here is like mankind was the one who was editing the text. And what they do is would write a word that would say incorrect. And so when people are reading that, they're thinking to reject that. Actually, they're talking about inside the body incorrect. Um, the American Indian tribes used to say a man spoke with, or a white man spoke with a forked tongue. So this is what I mean by when you see these words, I'm getting rid of mankind in the text. So, and making sure that I'm I'm kicking them out as best as I can, even though they even designed our language and came up with how these letters are created. Um, it's it's the inside game that I can't get into with people. Not now. I think before I die, I will explain a lot more of that. How I have actually made all these letters as like a number, and it has a meaning when you total up these as like a number to actually represent this word. And then I'm explaining each of these letters, how they're designed to become this word. And that's like the extreme master class of what I've done here. So other than that, I don't think I've even told people on video that much before in any of the videos. I've hinted to it, but colored to painted. I don't. This is kind of like makeup. So, and he didn't want women to wear makeup. Didn't want them to cover their head up with anything. But they did wear scarves, but never a veil. The veils were uh, the prostitutes that had come into the land that the kings stopped killing off. I'll move the text from here to here and have to respect our Creator first. This is the Hebrew name for Jesus. And that would probably get full explanation separate from specifically how you can determine and go by understanding the Hebrew text and how they made up a different um, description for Yah. And then, but when you go back and look at the verses and realize that all the verses are read, that's the name the Hebrews gave to him from the time of David. And then it was Son of Man. And then they knew that he was going to, I think our Creator had established that he's going to send his Holy One down, which meant the highest above all. So that's the description how man, male or female, only Jesus can be described as holy, as being the highest. So sometimes our Creator will use the word holy. Sometimes the prophets have to speak the word holy. But I pretty much, when I could put in the word highest, because I have a video in the description box describing how Jesus is not born of a virgin. That's just against our Creator. It makes our Creator a liar. Seems I added the word anointed, so it should have been in yellow. Changed the word he to understand the king at this time, because these are the numbers that are fitting for the king, Ezekiel. So this is getting almost the time where Israel, the nation, is going to be taken into captivity. So getting pretty far in the text here. This is strengthened. They readied their troops or readied their people. So this is a better word than he strengthened. He readied them. It could mean that he started building up weapons. I'm not really sure the story, what's going on here. Yeah, the king for Assyria's messengers return. This is going to be about the king of Israel, and he's going to ready the people, start making more swords, more shields, organizing and putting them ready together, because Syria is coming down. So don't need this anymore. These are kings for Israel and not Judah. They're out of place. They came and raided. I decided captured. This is the uh, uh, they took them captives and went to the land. So for their land, had to make sure which prophet is prophet. I don't think this guy will be ever known as a prophet anymore. Um, I was trying to make sure that the prophets that I have major words from, they're there. There's a book prophet called Nehemiah, and it is only about, I think, 4 pages long in the Bible. And when you clean it up, there's not much of it. So there's not much of this guy. So he could have been, but it just doesn't. It's better that he doesn't exist anymore in the text. And I owe him an apology when I get to heaven. So I had the word Babylon at this time, but actually, the stories that the prophets are saying that this is like maybe 10 years before, or maybe even 20 years before. So they still have to say a kingdom from the north is coming down. I can't have the word Babylon here until actually Syria and Babylon do battle. And then I can start using uh, the word Babylon, but I can't use it before when it goes into order. This is, yeah, later an east wind will strike it. This is Babylon, not um, Gomer from above, but it'll be the Assyria moving over, conquering um, Assyria. So that all that needed to be correct in our Creator's prophecy. See, when he says that here, I can't put Babylon here. So the thing here is that's why I changed it above. And he's still not telling them who this is. Um, see, there's going to be, he's saying he's going to bring a judgment against Assyria for what they've done through Babylon. It's really nice to realize I did pretty good here and without that segment. Instead, if I had just 2 virgins, they have to be pure virgins. Um, and not released a seed yet, and because that's the way our Creator wants us to live. And that's the way they live their lives. That um, that's why they married early, or were able to marry at 12 to 14 years old, and and it's the children being married. It's not some adult coming in and ruining the girl's life. That's why our Creator said that heaven was made for the children that are getting um, abused by those that are take advantage of them for their own wants. This was a timeline, but it was I was going to put the image of the timeline here. That's what you see the timeline. these were some of the images that are placement holders for me, but these are all, this text is all going to be gone. This text is gone. This story is gone. It's usually because I have it other places. And it's using green. Yellow I usually reserve for the gray text and uh, close enough, but maybe not all the way of changing it to gray. I'm gonna run this one as for trying to, because I see how many pages. I got another 100 to go, but I can't. I don't think I'm getting through 100 pages, so there's probably going to be 2 more videos after this. Um, I knew there was a verse missing here or a group missing, and I've decided those words fit now the story to make it go with this story. It's kind of like changing the story or introducing the two texts to be read in order. Promise to agreement. Yeah, it was his agreement. The 12 commandments are the agreement for them to stay on the land. Not when I read this, I was using the word nor as a major word, but when I'm reading this, it had to be more correct by what's being said. So I better put this up here and do this. Gotta check to make sure. I gotta change that word to black text and keep this one as the major word. Even though when it goes into text, all these letters are going to be upright, except for the gray text. Uh, they will be upright, but they'll still, I'm thinking, be gray text. So you can see I removed a lot of text here. Better text. See, I tell you that there's better text in Isaiah, and then you cross-reference with that to see where that note is. I didn't do that here. I'm just saying I got rid of it. I didn't move it. Standard was the standard until I decided, okay, it's a flag. Make it easier to understand for the 12-year-old. I think if I would explain it in the definitions that I'm going to have, I figured I can just change it to flag, and we all know what we're talking about. And he was trying to take over the whole, just not this capital city, but all Israel into his hand. These are small caps, so they're evil at this time. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop. Right, that I should stop. Yeah, right. And we'll stop right here, so that way we pick it up. People understand in the future that that's the stop and starting point. And I'm going to end this video now. Uh, but